MMR. I've been trying to play Luna a lot more. It's weird because like a lot of these games that I'm losing, I am fighting for my life to like win. Like my team's getting crushed, but like I'm behind the scenes going to the lanes while the enemy's distracted and taking all their tier ones. Like because like I don't know, just anything I can do to like get the farm I need while like simultaneously um creating the potential for space on the map, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, for sure.
Um uh yeah, and there's even one that I lost I like clawed my way back from the game. Like I lost the lane, I found the farm, I clawed my way back. I'm like the highest net worth on the map by a wide margin, and we get ratted at the end by a mid lion. We got cheesed so hard, and like I was the only one who noticed and decided to TP back, and then the Pudge hooks me, cancels my TP, and nobody else goes back to like stop this as like because I had reached the point where I was unkillable as Luna. Like I could have fought all of them in one, and no one went back to stop it, so we lost. And it's been a wild like 3 weeks.
Okay, so you've been having some pretty demoralizing games, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that. I guess I would just ask, like, through all of that, how does it? Because you're saying all the things you're saying that you're doing. Do you feel like you're like? Do you feel like what we talked about last time in regards to like being more creative with your farming patterns and all that kind of stuff? Do you feel like it's having benefits, or like what's your gauge on
I
like your impact on these games? I know it's hard exactly with all the chaos and stuff, but
I do feel like there's moments where like I have a lot more clarity in the game. Like, I'm like farming a jungle somewhere and I see a lion pop up near me and like I'm like, okay, his other support's with him. Let me check his inventory. Oh, he has a smoke. I could be getting ganked. This other support has a ward. Let me keep an eye on like if he places it or not. Like I do feel like I have moments where like my how much I'm paying attention to like what is actually happening in the game is higher, but I don't feel like it's consistent and I don't feel like it's translating to wins, if that
mm.
makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'll just say this. I'm not. We're gonna have to check out your replay today to like give conclusive evidence. But there's a very good chance that you're doing everything you need to do in terms of improving from last session, and you're on the J curve, which I just called the J curve because that's what it's shaped like. You make a meaningful improvement, and the short term you go down, and then in the long term you go up. Um, because for me, if you're actually making good improvement, I usually say to people, if you're making significant changes to the way you view the game in the short run, it's not enough to offset what you're not thinking about or not doing in order to do this. Like you are using your brain power on something that you're not used to using it on. So there's quite a potential that I don't know for sure until we watch today, but you could be doing all the things right and not all the things right, but like you could be doing much better on all of the stuff that we discussed. And this stuff doesn't, like, if you're making meaningful improvements, it doesn't fix things overnight. Like it's not going to suddenly make you, like, I would almost say if somebody instantly climbed 500, I'd be more like, well, they probably should have been that MMR in the first place. But what I'm thinking
Right.
is that if you're going down, we're gonna decide it when we watch your games. I just want you to know that I've seen it time and time again where people are on the right track with initially short term uh downswings. So I just don't want that to steer you off course. While I know it can also be very frustrating and like dissuasion, like it can be dissuading and disencouraging. But hopefully, it sounds like what you just said to me sounds like you are applying what we talked about. Like that, like you gave your own version of like what it feels like in your games, and that sounds like what we were going for. Now we just need to see, maybe what's happening there. Maybe I steered you in the wrong direction somehow. Maybe you are just doing the right things, and in the short term, it hasn't paid off yet. Um, but yeah,
Right.
that's what we're gonna
I
hopefully
do
decide today. But go ahead.
something I I've done this like 3 times now. Like, this is the 3rd time I've lost Ancient. I've lost
Yeah.
I'm used to large swings in MMR, and I do think that, over the last year, my MMR has been slightly inflated because of Juggernaut. Um,
Mm.
and I think that I'm coming to terms with that a little bit
Okay.
because, like, before when I would lose MMR, I would just play Juggernaut and I'd win. And,
Mm.
now that he's been nerfed, I don't win as much with him.
That makes sense. Yeah, the thing is I actually said this and somebody said it resonated with them really well, so I want to keep using it. I think it's just really important we be careful of optimizing what I call dead ends. It's like if your if your MMR is kind of propped up by Juggernaut and your default when you're losing is to go play Juggernaut, you're effectively optimizing a dead end. Do you see what I mean? Like
Yeah.
your MMR can only go so high with just playing one hero, and if you're not learning other stuff on other heroes, then you're effectively optimizing a dead end. So, like for me, God, something stuck in my throat. 1 second. For me, it's just there's gonna be things that we do that got us to where we are. And have you ever played the game Factorio?
I have not. I have
Okay.
heard of it though.
Okay. I'm gonna give my best quick short description. So what happens in Factorio is you're automating a factory and you're getting like processes where you have like things first you start by mining the coal yourself and then you build machines that mine the coal for you and then you transport the coal yourself, but then you build machines that transport it for you. And what ends up happening is you you combine like three of the base resources into different things, and then you combine three of those different things into other things. So you end up with this like factory that's like feeding itself in the game. But what happens is when you get to like 4 hours into the game, what happens is you become capped based on things you did at level 1, like things you did at like the start that you weren't fixing because you didn't know they were problems, like because you were just
Mhm.
starting off. So what that's for me is what it means to like optimize a dead end is that your system that you've had in place that's gotten you this far, which means that there's a reason you've clung to it because it's gotten you this far. Usually, what I call it the Factorio thing is where I'm like, when I find myself at a quote unquote dead end, I need to basically go back to stage 1 and do it differently. So for you, maybe you optimized Jug, but you didn't really optimize how to learn a hero. So maybe we need to like help you learn heroes. I'm just giving an example. But did that analogy, do you know what I mean, or did that analogy kind of not make sense?
Yeah. Yes. It made sense to me.
Okay, cool. I like to call it the
So
Factorio approach. Like that, I like my girlfriend and I know what it means, so I always just say to her, "I'm just doing the Factorio again, resetting the
yeah,
base." But go ahead, you were gonna say something.
I guess so here let me share my screen with you.
Sure.
What kind of so here's my history, right? So I guess my question is what kind of game are you looking to look at? Um like there's this one where what is this? This one I felt like I was doing great. Um and then my Viper just kept dying to a Juggernaut, and I feel like he just shot up in net worth from it. And if we had just kept this trajectory, like right around here, I would have been like critical mass and we could have ended the game. Um, then there's this one where it was my whole team was like kind of falling apart. I went a really weird item build where I just went straight Silver Edge at the start to fight the strength of this guy, and it did work out. Like I did. If you see Luna, right, like I trajected upwards pretty hard, but like I
Mm.
couldn't translate it to a win. At the highest net worth on the map, can't even win the game. Um,
I would like to point out real quick. I
this
want to
one,
interrupt you. Are you going Ags every game?
no, no, absolutely not.
Because the two
This
you
was
just
just
showed
a
me went
game.
Ags.
Yeah, I did go Ags here because I the biggest problem was like PA and Timber, and I know Timber hates magic damage, so I wanted to break him throw damage at him melee wise, and then unload my ult into him, so like I could turn and deal with the rest of the team. Um, Eventually, though, obviously, looking at this Quap, who's 21-3 or 22-4, she became a hell of a problem.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. You're
Yeah.
going to win games by thinking, how do I make my hero as strong as humanly possible for your first 4 items?
Okay.
5th and 6th item, you can start thinking about countering enemy heroes.
Right.
Actually, I want you to make that significant change to the approach. The only things you do to counter enemy heroes with your items is things that kill you. So, like,
Okay.
if you need a Lincoln's versus Legion, for instance. But, like, what I'm telling you is it's a dangerous, slippery slope for you to be telling me who's the problem, and you're building ways to kill them with your
Right.
items. Does that make sense? Like, you can build to kill them with your 4th, 5th, 6th items. But I can tell you this is a common trap people run into. So, like, I would... I'm not exactly sure what type of game I would like to watch with you, but I would really like to, like, this is super important, like, in terms of general changes. First, like, 3 or 4 items, do not itemize to counter enemy heroes. Make yourself stronger. Only counter items are defensive ones that prevent their way of killing you.
This has been my tip. So those were losses, right? I was
Yeah.
trying to imagine a way to win in those. But if you look at this on my screen, this has been my typical build. Especially like if I'm just like winning the game, I go Mask of Madness, then Dragonlance, Yasha, Manta, Pike, then like a survivability item. This one was Lincoln's because of the Legion. I was doing well, and I felt like the only thing that would kill me was a Legion duel, so I didn't want to deal with that. And then after that, Satanic, so I could just stand and man fight, and Swift Blink crit. You
Okay, and
know,
did you win or
some
lose this
something
game?
along. I won this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that looks like a good build to me overall.
Now,
I
obviously, you
usually
see, I
try
did
not to
not
go
brag.
Lance before Manta unless I absolutely have to, because I think Manta's like way too good.
Yep.
That's my only thought about that. Like, if I have to, I will, but most of the time I try to avoid that. But like, that's the type of build I like to see. I'm curious about, in your losses, why you're not going this build. Like, why do I not see
Um,
those items in your losses, basically?
I do.
Okay. I would like
Let's
to
see
see a
here.
loss with those items. Not that one. That one's pretty ugly. I mean, we can
Uh,
watch it for a
yeah.
bit if you'd like, but
Let's see a loss here with these items. This one was another weird build. What is this one? Yeah, this is one where I did the same thing. Lance, then I went crit for damage, then BKB, and we lost. So why don't we start here?
okay. That looks like the best one to watch. And yeah. I will tell you that preemptively, I can't say for sure, but based on what you told me, I think a very common thing that people do when they're getting really chaotic games and losing in the ways that you were describing earlier, the majority of us try to come up with ways to change to fix it when it's more requiring us to be more, like, rather than be more dynamic, it's requiring us to be more stable. Meaning, like, just build the same items every game rather than trying to get too creative to solve all of the problems in your games. Because that's what it
Yep.
felt like looking at that Timber game. Like, I'm going to buy a Silver Edge and magic damage for this guy. Like, it makes sense on paper, but that's not how Dota works. I know it makes
Right.
sense, but it's... So I do want to just let you know that when you're saying, like, oh, there's another creative item build, this could be a huge problem for you. Like, meaning, like, it could be causing you to lose these games. I can't say for sure, but I can tell you I've seen this before. I've done it myself. You can stop streaming on Discord if you'd like. But I've seen it before
Okay.
myself, and it's just something to keep in mind. I'll just say,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you this question in your notes here. This is the question I want you to ask yourself, because I think it... Let me know if there's another way you'd like to ask this. How do I ask this question? Have my games been more, or how chaotic, unpredictable, what's another word for this? All over the place. Any word that resonates with you and similar to that? This guy also
Yeah,
looks
that
like he's smurfing.
those
Okay.
I guess I get when we are losing, it feels like, and this is not their fault, right? I'm not blaming them for this. It feels like my other four teammates are like losing the battle, and I don't know how to help them. Like I feel like if I show up and fight, then I die before I'm ready. If I'm going behind them and I like taking tier ones and farming, then they just slowly lose more. So by the time the high ground comes and I'm ready to fight, their net worth is so low that like it doesn't matter. Like I don't know how to help them. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I mean, what if the answer is you don't?
Right.
um, that's the one answer. I'm not saying it's the right answer, but that's the one thing I don't hear you considering when you talk to me about it. You're against Fudge Invoker. Okay. So I actually, I'm gonna keep watching. Okay. I feel like we talked about this last time, but I want you to
range
know
creep, yes.
the rage creep has died off my screen 3 times.
I did try to beam it there. I just wasn't
That
fast
one you
enough.
tried to beam it, but this one so right here I would walk forward to get here to be in range of this getting denied because I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that's like one example. You can't get the creep, but I would be there so I don't miss the XP entirely. And then this one you'd go for the beam, which is fine. Go ahead.
In this lane, I believe my ogre has learning curve. So like if it's not in beam range in a position where I'm like safe or I move like maybe a couple 200 units, you know what I mean, to do it, I kind of view it as like just risking death.
It's a lot of experience to be missing. I'm just telling you, if you're getting 0 experience for range creeps and you're not getting any denies in return, that's just really bad for your lane. It's like really bad. So it's
Okay.
either getting your own denies and dragging to your range, or you just have to get an XP range of that. Like, I'm just telling you, when I see this, I understand what you're saying, but let me rewind. Maybe let's play this out for a second. I'm gonna like look at how I would approach this situation exactly. So, okay, so you pulled into the tower a little bit. He's holding it outside of tower. So what I would do here is I would aggro these creeps forward to here. Like I would A-click the invoker so that these creeps move forward, which moves my creep wave closer because I see this. And so that's going to allow me to walk forward a little bit more. Like I'm either denying a creep here or I'm moving myself closer. Like I just can't let him get a full deny. Like that's 2 denied range creeps, right? Because I get 0 XP. So what I would do here is walk forward and aggro to him. So like all I'm saying is like those are the 2 choices, and there's always going to be something you can do. Like always. I don't want to say always. 98% of the time. There's something you can do. So that was one example. Ogre is kind of being useless because he's got learning curve or whatever. You go for the beam there, that's fine. So interestingly enough, like I'm wondering why you're attacking these creeps.
At that point, it's hard to remember my thought process, but I probably was thinking something along the lines of like there's so many creeps that I might as well just kind of shove this as far forward as I can.
What I see is you're level 2, Pudge is level 1. He doesn't dare walk up to get this range creep. That's a free deny.
Yep.
And instead
So
of getting
I screwed myself by doing this.
Yeah, what I'm trying to show is that these range creep denies in CS are actually fucking your lane. like I don't like to just say like man, this one problem is really bad. But like, I'm trying to emphasize as somebody who's experienced this, that these range creep CS and denies, you have to give them more attention. Like, it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. So like laning centric focus is range creep, CSing and denying. Just like Invoker getting that CS when they're level 1 and you're level 2 with 5 creeps is like inexcusable. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just, he should never get that CS.
Okay.
Is what I mean by this. Because you were in control of the lane. Even though the lane's pushing, I would rather you think, okay, how about laning centric focus? Instead of what is the lane doing, like pushing or pushing into me, who controls what areas? That person should be getting CS in that area and denies in that area. So what I would want you to be able to do is say, you tell me here that they control this area right here. Like, you're level 2, they're level 1, and you're telling me he controls this. If you think that's the case, we'll have a talk. But if he doesn't control this, you need to get the deny. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. We don't want to overcomplicate this because a lot of your laning mechanics are fine, but these range creeps are pretty egregious. Okay, so we kill the sentry.
I wanted to hit the pool because he hadn't
Yeah,
unblocked
that
our
makes
camp
sense.
yet.
So one thing I'm never going to do in this lane is take a second point and beam. That's the last thing I do. Against Pudge, with nobody helping me, I would always go boots. Because the one thing that's going to kill me is him hooking me. So I just have to have boots.
Right.
So I don't take that second point and beam.
I got frustrated with him because I pinged that I wanted to pull the big camp so they could pull, and he pulled anyway. I was like, dude, we could have avoided this if you would just listen to me.
I mean, what I see is you walking into a Pudge and getting hooked.
Yeah.
The thing is I understand your perspective. It's really easy for us. Like, I don't disagree that, like, we could have pulled large camp instead. But what matters is the reality that we're in, that we adjust to it. A lot of us spend too much time thinking about what we wanted this guy to do. We dwell on what we wished he had done. And then we play in a way that gets us fucked. Like, in this case, you lose control of you lose perspective of your positioning for like 2 seconds. And then you get hooked and you die again. So it's just, I would encourage you to ask yourself the question, like, how do I even word this? How often are you thinking about what should have happened rather than what is happening? Because I have been a huge culprit of this. Like, I had this really bad when I was in professional teams. And I think it was one of the reasons that I wasn't the best teammate. Is because when we would go over the games afterwards, I'd be talking about how lanes should have gone at minute 9. And I'm sure my team was wondering, like, can we just talk about how we wanted to play from this situation? Like, rather than how we shouldn't be in this situation. Do you see what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's really common, especially for carry players, because we kind of have this like theoretical perfect start that we can have, and we know when we get that start, our farm like skyrockets, and we have this like, oh, 900 GPM, you know, it's like sick. And then when like somebody else does something that like makes it hard for us to get that start that we want, then we feel it for the rest of the game. Do you know what I mean? It's like at 12 minutes, I know I have less items because he pulled that hard camp. Or the small camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we just can't think this way because it doesn't help us win. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
If we think this way, it just doesn't help us win. At the end of the day, it's not a matter of is it objectively correct or not that he pulled the small camp. What matters is us thinking about the fact that he shouldn't have pulled the small camp is making us more likely to lose this game.
Right.
And so that's does that distinction kind of make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Everyone does it. For me, the only thing I've done to fix it is just draw attention to it. I'm like, Brian, I've reasoned it out. That doesn't help you fucking win. So I understand why it's frustrating, but doesn't help me win. So that we just kind of have to accept it, sadly. I like the ogre man fighting to the death.
Yeah, it was a very weird choice.
But I will tell you, because you mentioned it in your document from the first session back in December, is your ability to play the map is going to matter a fraction if your first 5 minutes are this sloppy. Like with 2 extra deaths, because you went Band of Elven instead of Boots, and then you took you went for an aggressive play up, like you got caught out of position from a hook. Like, if those range creeps go slightly different and you have 1 of these deaths instead of 2, this game is very different. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a very different game. And it's not a
Yeah.
matter of what should have happened. What I'm just trying to say is that perhaps we fixed your mid game, but now your laning stage has just been on average not serving you, you know? Because on Jug, one thing about Jug that if you think about all my early heroes I loved playing, Jug, Ursa, Slark, PL, they all
They
have
just went lane.
they win the lane and they're very survivable. Like, they don't
Yes.
die. You know what I mean? So like
That
you,
that
go
that
ahead.
was my favorite thing about Jug and playing why I played him so much is because like it was very hard to lose the lane and his attack speed just allowed me to deny creeps that I would not be able to deny on other heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so what I want to say is this. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with this. I mean, we're probably very similar carry players. You're kind of at your carry player stage from where I was about a decade ago, where like all I played was Jug and Ursa and Slark. That was literally all I played. And so what happened was my map awareness wasn't very good at the time because these heroes don't have to look around the map as much, right? Because you can afford to lose track of people and just spin away. But that doesn't work on like SFs and Lunas and Drows, you know, like it just doesn't work. And then, so what I'm thinking for you, or what I'm thinking right now, is that we could continue watching this game because I know I just talked about like not dealing with the theoreticals or whatever. But what I'm saying is that like I would want to spend a lot of attention on your follow-up replay, and maybe instead of sending me a replay individually, maybe you send me 3 laning stages, you know,
Okay.
where I watch that first 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm going to watch we can watch maybe another game where your lane went a bit better so I can see your movements in that. But I really do believe the situation you're in here should be like 10% of your games, you know, like,
Yep.
or less. So it's a matter of, we could talk about this, but I also think that by doing this, your chance of solo carrying the game goes way down. Like, way down. And the reason that I was able to have such high impact in that Smurf lobby, for instance, is because I'm winning my lane. If I lost my lane and my Invoker's losing his tower, we're kind of fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's not as simple as just win your fucking lane, but there are the range creeps and the honestly the thought about what your support should be doing. Those alone will have like a massive impact on your laning stage. And I don't want to overcomplicate it because I think those are your two, like one is a mechanical thing and one is a mindset thing. And I think if we can work on one at a time and then have that be the focus of the replay when you send it back. My question is, do you want to watch the rest of this game, or is there maybe a better mid game we should watch? What would you like to do from here? Make the best use of
Um,
our next like 30 minutes.
I don't I don't know what the correct answer
Mm.
is. Uh,
I'll ask you how
I
you're
mean,
feeling about what I'm saying so far. Good, bad, helpful, not helpful. Is it landing? Does it feel like it's not registered? Like, does this feel like it describes your games, or am I not landing yet? It's fine if I'm not. I just need to know where we're at, basically.
I do feel like um I am struggling in lanes. I do feel like my games are a bit chaotic right now. Um, I do feel like I should win some of these games regardless because of how I'm able to recover in the mid game.
Okay.
So I don't know that like missing 3 range creeps is resulting in a loss of the game. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
talking about
am
three.
I losing the lane?
For me, it's 3 range creeps, 2 deaths, and jungling at level 3. For
Right,
me,
right.
that's a lot. You know what I mean? It's not
Okay.
like just the
Yes.
range creeps, but I'm saying like these combined factors that are booting you out of lane at level 3 with 2 points beam. Like for me,
Right.
that's a big deal. I don't want to just say you're losing games because of range creeps. But what I'm saying is like the point is whatever you do in the first 5 minutes, the mistakes compound really fast, right? Because instead of laning at level 5, pushing the wave and jungling there, and suddenly you're level 8 at minute 11, you're like level 3 jungling at minute 6. And like I'm talking about the best possible case scenario and the worst possible case scenario. And I'm not expecting you to be in the best possible case scenario, but it is quite possible to be chilling with treads level 5 jungling in like 90% of your games, like
Yeah.
95%. And that's just what I want to make sure. I don't know what's happening in the rest of your games. Is this sort of thing happening a lot, or is this like the worst case scenario that you've had in the last, however long?
This this particular lane might have been like, you know, one of like 3 to 5 worst case scenarios.
Okay.
I do have lanes where like it's more of like a break even, and I exit when I have Mask of Madness, regardless of whether I feel I have lost the lane or not. I just feel like I will farm faster, being unhindered by the activities of the game somewhere else.
Hmm. Okay. So okay, so I kind of interrupted you there. I want to make sure we were on the same. So I asked you how we were doing in the session, and you said, I do. You don't think you're losing because of the range creeps and stuff. So I just wanted to say that for me, the impact is when you're jungling and stuff. So is this a common reason you end up losing your games, or would you say no? Like you just said, it's kind of um like most games you kind of get off to the start you want.
I feel like I want to say probably about 50% of my games I would lose because I have a bad start, and having a bad start on, as a carry can be like make the game infinitely harder. So like I'll be generous and say it's probably about 50%. I'd say the other 50% is probably like mid game decision making. Um, you know, do I show up to this fight and uh um, you know, help in some way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I understand it's weird because like I understand that I should be looking at a fight and seeing like, oh, did a black hole go off? Did Cataclysm go? Did Invoker cast Meteor? Is Trolls ult down? Right? I should be looking for those things, but like I can't do it fast enough. And when I do see those spells go off, I still can like find it difficult to gauge like whether I should be going to this fight or not. Um, because like sometimes like, oh, I'll like say I see Troll's ult go off, or I'm like, oh, he's killable now. I should show up. But then by the time my TB ends, like my whole team's dead. So it's like, well, I just wasted my time and theirs, you know? I don't know if that made any sense.
It does. Um,
I
right?
actually, I think a more accurate representation of my losses are, let's say, 30%, 33% lane, 33% mid game bad decisions, and then the other 33% I probably couldn't tell you why I lost. I
I
don't
see.
have the knowledge to look at the game and be like, this is exactly why you lost.
Okay.
Here is when all hope went out the window.
Okay. I understand. I mean, I think I understand at least enough. Um, so the part for me that really registered out of what you were saying was talking about showing up to fights and stuff. Where you're like talking about checking people's exact ults and if they're killable and all this kind of stuff. For me, all I want you to see is that your tower bottom has 9 creeps on it and it's dying.
Yeah,
That's all I
and I
want you
don't
to
have a
see.
CP.
So there's kind of two types of this problem. There's two extremes, and almost everybody I coach has one or the other extreme because it's really hard to balance things. It's really hard to have the right balance. The two extremes that I'm talking about are people that are so purely on autopilot that I ask them what they're thinking and they tell me nothing. Like they're just like, I don't know why I did that. And then there's people like you that are on the other end where I kind of ask you what you're thinking, and instead it's like 20 things. And all I want is the one thing that matters. It's not easy
Right.
to identify that one thing that matters, but all I want is the one thing that matters. And so I hear your guys' thought process, and my first thought is that sounds pretty exhausting to be thinking all of that stuff. And it's not that I want you to think less, but what I want to show you is that for clarity to occur, you're never going to have clarity if your brain's thinking about that many things, is what I'm trying to say. And maybe I
Mhm.
didn't land that with the right message, but what I'm thinking about, I had the coaching session with Jenkins a while back. Did you ever see that? It was like 2 months ago.
I did, yes.
So in that
Yeah, I
session,
did.
we talked about the signal and the noise, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So for me, what I want, here's what I'm thinking. For me, the signal is I want to see every range creep on my screen. I want to buy the component of treads that makes the most sense in that given lane, whether it's 6 damage, whether it's attack speed, or whether it's boots. I want to position myself in lane according to the enemy heroes and making sure that I like at all times ask myself, was that good positioning? Why did I mess up there? I want to have a general gauge of how my other lanes did. I don't need to know exactly what spells are casted and all that kind of stuff. Maybe even just like an 8-minute check of the scoreboard and see that my mid laner's down by 2 levels or up by 2 levels or that it's even or whatever. You know, like just some gauge of what's like the tempo of the game. And then what I want on top of that is that my job in the early to mid game, which is like 8 to 20 minutes, is that I clear waves whenever I can. Like because on every carry you're farming and you know the jungle is usually the safest farm, but you know the question I would ask myself in terms of the signal of the game is how many waves did I not farm when I could have? And these things add up a shit ton. I just can't tell you how much they add up. Like the waves not being cleared. Like how much MMR is it costing you if every game you never TP bottom here versus TPing bottom here? It's hard to quantify, but it's a lot. Right? It's a
Yeah.
lot that there's this many creeps, 7 to be exact. So instead of while Puck is dead in a fight going on mid, you're farming 7 creeps, then the next creep wave, and then one of them has to TP bottom, and now you're farming like this, which creates space for your team and gives you more farm. But instead, you know, we're this tower's gonna die to like a catapult, basically. And then,
Yeah.
you know, your Mars with no HP, like now your team's getting bullied over here. Like they're getting ran at over here and stuff. And then there's pressure on this lane too, and this tower's dying. Like, that's your role in the game, is this stuff. It's not even knowing what
Yeah.
fights to show up to, it's
Yep.
this stuff. So, I'm going to pause. I heard all of the things that you said that are going on in your brain. And I'm not in your brain, right? I don't know exactly what's happening. But for me, what I think the way we get success here is to help you, like have you help me help you understand what's getting in the way of that signal. What is the noise? What is the problem here? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what
Okay.
the noise is.
Um,
Not an
I
easy
guess
question.
the
Go ahead.
noise in this game would have been me just trying to execute like what I view as so this area that I've been in the map, and then the flip side, right, near the other tower is kind of like I watched a video. I think it might have been you actually from a while ago, where it was like the highest value area in the map.
Okay.
So I was just staying there near this tower, trying to execute that farming pattern and trying to catch up as quickly as possible. To be honest with you, I'm like watching this replay with you. I have no idea why I have not carried a TP with me for so long, and it's kind of embarrassing actually. But uh, I think the reason that because I remember looking in this game and looking at my TP and seeing it empty and being like, I don't actually want to be there anyway. I don't want to be bothered. So like the extra 100 gold would just slow me down. And obviously that's like a wrong thought, like that's what like 500 gold I just gave up, you know what I mean, for the
Yeah.
cost of 100. So like that was probably the noise. The noise is that I'm safe up here. This is highly efficient farm. And yeah.
Okay. That's a good answer. Give me a second. I'm just kind of typing up notes here. Um, so, um, one second. Okay. It's really interesting, actually, because I've received all types of different reasons why people farm certain areas of the map. Okay. Like people. How do I word this? It's really important that we don't play favorites with anywhere on the map. I've had people that talk about trying to open up the enemy safe lane tower, so I see them farming their ancients a lot because they're trying, like, they're like, if you're dire, they're like farming here a lot because they're like, I'm looking for an opportunity to kill this tower. And in my head, I'm just like thinking, that's not how you decide your farm. Like, that's, you said yourself, like, that's like a wrong thought or whatever.
Mhm.
There's like, I've seen 5 to 10 different examples of people having like biases towards specific parts of the map. And I just want to draw to your attention, you and everyone watching, that just doesn't exist. Like, we can't do that. Like, it's really bad. We don't want to have any limitations to where we can go on the map. The last thing we want to do is have a bias that is preventing us from being open-minded that this map is fucking huge. Like, it is huge. There are so many different places, given the scenario in the game, that can vary in optimization. So my thought is, my noise that I put on your document is you are so hyper-focused on efficiency that you're not being efficient.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? How that plays out that way?
Yes. Yeah.
So the main thing, so for me, there's a lot of shit going on in your games, in your brain. I want to lay this out for you. So the way that I view Luna is you can put 2 points beam if you would like, if you're winning your lane, specifically. If you're winning your lane, you can put 2 points beam. If you're not winning your lane, I usually go 1-4-4 or 1-2-4 back into 2-2-4 ult so I can maybe team fight. But your
Yeah.
W is really good for farming ancients. It's like really good for it. And it also helps save you HP, especially like early on. You don't have to like kite camps as much and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So in the past, Dragonlance helped Luna a lot because she didn't have her W. Like it was back when Glaives was her W. And so Dragonlance was really important because you could kite jungle camps better. And it would save you a lot of health, like a lot of health, in order to farm ancients and stuff. But nowadays, I think Dragonlance is a massive exception. Like I don't buy it like hardly ever. Like I don't want to buy
Mhm.
it. So for me, the signal is Treads, Mask of Madness, Manta, bare minimum. Like that is what I go 96% of games. And my skill build will vary drastically based on how much I'm jungling. So what was interesting was you were jungling at level 3, and then when I fast forward, you have 304 and a point in your ult. Like, I would have loved to see, oh shit, maybe that second point in beam was bad. I'm 244 now. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm
Mhm.
jungling. That's what I'm doing. And then I would love to see that when team fights go on, what I put on your document, which is the signal, is clearing waves whenever possible. And this goes way up when a fight is happening on the map because you have more information. People on the enemy team have TP'd places, and they're also spending a lot of resources that they can't use to kill you, right? So when you see team fights going on, if there's one thing out of this session that I want you to take is that there better not be in any replay you send me a team fight between minute 8 and 20 with a wave to be cleared and you're jungling. I don't
Okay.
care if you go to the fight. I don't fucking care. Like that's actually level 2 of team fight decision making. Because a lot of the stuff you were talking to me about is like level 2 or 3 of team fight decision making. I think level 1 is clearing waves that are free to clear. That's level 1. And you need to do level 1 first because that's how you set up the map to be successful. And that's how fights look good for you. Because if you're not doing that, then the fights are going to feel bad anyway. Like I'll just tell you, they're not going to feel good to go to if you're not
Yeah, you're
doing
gonna
step
even
1.
if you win a fight, you just have to split and fix the waves, and you get nothing
Exactly.
for it, and it's just a waste of your time.
So, yeah, exactly. So rather than all of the, because you said a lot of stuff, and I might have overburdened you last month, like because I talked about map awareness and stuff. So I might have actually caused this, like by trying to force you to look around a lot
It's
more. Um,
it's funny because
Go ahead.
I last month when I was like losing, I was having a big problem um with like getting ganked and like dying. But like I haven't had that problem this month. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like that has stopped.
okay. I
Or at
wouldn't
least
doubt
it's
that
not
your
much of
awareness has
a
gone up.
massive issue.
I wouldn't doubt that your overall awareness has gone up, but what I'm seeing here is potentially playing too safe. And if you're playing too
Yep.
safe, then what your team will feel the burden of that, and you will very often run into you, 3 other cores, and then your team in terms of the net worth. Like you will run into
Yeah.
that a lot more often. Like that, it's like Luna is a hero that kind of does that, but that's a symptom of playing too passive if it happens across most of your games. You know what I mean? Like it'll happen sometimes, but like if it's happening in a majority of your games, that's like a symptom of you playing too passive. And this is an example of what I mean by passive. I'm not talking about going to fights. I'm talking about not clearing that bottom wave, right? And so you talked about all this stuff with like awareness of spells and all that. My goal for you this month, let's like keep it simple because I think the complicated shit you've got down better, but we need to make sure we get the signal. The signal is I see team fight on map, yes or no. Like yes or no. Just to check. And when there's a team fight, I now need to check the lanes. And if there's one I think I can go to. And I just need to not miss them. That's like the biggest thing.
Okay.
It'll have massive impact for you because that's going to, like, what happens is that's why we move, is because of fights going on the map and how they affect us. But what I've noticed when I have people that have biases, which is actually all of you, that have biases towards like specific parts of the map, it prevents you from moving. Like, that's what happens, is you guys, like, don't move because you think this part of the map is better. And I'm like, I get that this part of the map on average is better. Like, I get that. But it's not better at every moment, and that rigidity is going to hurt you in the long run. We want you to get more gold, and the more gold comes from opening up the map, not by hitting creeps faster. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's all about space on the map. So when the enemy gives you that space, we have to take it.
Okay.
That's the big emphasis. So I put in your notes that the noise is the hyper focus on efficiency and playing for the efficiency part of the map. And so my signal that I wanted for you is range creeps, correct component of treads, always carrying a TP, because you talked about like what your thought was there, but it never outweighs it, I promise you, to like save that gold. And clearing waves whenever possible when a team fight happens. That for me is your signal that we need to see, and you need to be like, I'm going to watch my games back and be like, I did those things, or I didn't do those things. And you can tell me all about this fucking lion that does crazy shit, because I believe this crazy shit's happening in your games. But the problem is,
I just want. Can I show you this real quick?
Yeah, you know what? For entertainment's sake, send me the ID. I'll look at it. This is
just for the laughs.
This is for everyone's entertainment for sure. We can do it. Because I believe you, crazy shit's happening in your games. The problem is when we get, when we get caught up in the sauce. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Or lost in the sauce. I couldn't remember the fucking phrase.
I have to find it. Hold on. Yeah, right here. All right. Where is chat? All right, I have pasted it in chat.
Okay, in your chat. What minute mark? What are we going to? Just very end? Like
just at the very end of the game. So we push top lane.
I'm fast forwarding. We'll find it.
Right? And this wave goes in.
And Lion's just killing your base with.
Yep, this is
you get your base.
I think that was my TP, and I get hooked. So I have to stand and fight these guys. And Lion just wins the game. Nobody else even tried to TP back. Oh, I lied. People did try. Too late.
Yeah, they tried after he's hitting your base for about a minute. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It was really depressing because we were getting cheesed by this lion super hard, and yeah.
That's pretty funny. I mean, sorry, but it is kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, my thought for you, as you know, we are at about the hour mark, but we're happy to have a little discussion for a bit if there's things that are not clear. My thought for you, from everything you've been saying to me today, is that there's a lot of random shit happening in your games, and when I'm looking at what you're doing, my question is what you're doing makes sense to what is happening in the game? That's what I always ask myself when I'm watching other people. So for me, it's like if you're trying to jungle and play for efficiency, but then you have 404 skill build or 304 skill build on Luna, that's like an example of like it doesn't match. If you're trying to play for proper map movements and you never have a TP on you, does that match? If you're trying to outscale and get gold as a carry, you know, Luna just goes Manta. Like, that's her item, you know, Mask of Madness Manta. If unless there's a specific reason that you can't afford to go Manta this game, which would need to be a pretty huge exception. It's kind of like, honestly, Luna not going Manta second item for me is like Anti-Mage not going Battle Fury. There has to be like a very specific reason that he needs like a Vanguard in lane or something, that he would delay his Battle Fury. Same with Luna. You go Mask of Madness into Manta. I've even gotten Manta into Mask of Madness sometimes, depending on how important the Dispel from Manta is. So like for me, that's the signal. And a lot of people who are in your situation, I try to help them replicate their hero's impact in the game through all of the bullshit, right? And so the way to do that with farming comes down to catching our biases towards certain part of the maps, because replicating it does not mean farming the same area of the map efficiently. It means adjusting to the bullshit in the game. Oh, like they're pushing 4 mid, I should TB bottom now. Oh, they're like running at me as 4, I'm gonna jungle purely because they keep running at me. Or whatever. It's like the adjustment that gets made. And so it's weird because we have to be stable while making a bunch of adjustments. So it's like kind of kind of an oxymoron there. But, you know, when we make adjustments, it just have to make sense. So you can say my default is to play safe lane with these two camps. That makes sense. That's my default. But every time there's a reason in the game to move, that's an exception. And we need to use those exceptions. We can't just play within the thing that's our default all game.
Yeah.
And we want your default to be Treads, Mask of Madness, Manta. And if you're not doing that, then we would need a very specific exception to this rule. And so for me, it's like I've gone Mask of Madness, Manta, like either Scotty or Butterfly or BKB after that. I went Hurricane Pike once, but it was like, I think it was against like Razor or maybe Tusk. I think their main way of killing me was Tusk, and I love Hurricane Pike against Tusk because you get out of shards and stuff. But usually my second item after Manta is a way that, like, so it's Mask of Madness so I can jungle. It's Manta so I can expand my farm on the map because I can clear waves now that are dangerous for me. And I now need an item that makes me survivable. I just need something, whether it's Hurricane Pike, BKB, Butterfly, Scotty, one of these. And then I pretty much always end up with a Butterfly Satanic and a BKB in my inventory, and usually a Swift Blink Daedalus to end it off. But that's like what ends up in my inventory eventually.
Yeah.
So I'm just
I
saying
think the
that's the
reason
signal. Go ahead.
so it was like a week and a half ago or maybe 2 weeks ago now. I played it might have been Jug into a Luna, and the absolute beatdown that she gave us, like it was wild because we would kill her, and then it wouldn't even matter. She'd just come back and fight anyway and like kill people. And so I watched the replay back and watched what she did, and I'm like, all right, what are the items? And he went uh Dragonlance, Manta, Pike, crit, right? And he just fought. And I was like, all right, if it's working for him, then I can make it work for me. And that's why I started that build over the last
I
like
see.
2 weeks or so.
I see. That makes sense. Um, I can see that.
But
Like you got owned by it, so like that's literally how top level players think too. Like we got owned by something and we try to replicate it. I think it's very dangerous to replicate things that we don't understand why it works. Like for me, hmm. Yeah, it's just very dangerous because like I don't have the good sense that you didn't give me a reason why you thought it worked. You just said it owned me, so I do it now. Maybe you just didn't explain it and you have the reason. Um,
so
Go ahead.
after playing it, I a few times, even in the losses, it really felt like having another save button was super helpful. Like having Satanic, Manta, and Pike like really was nice in being able to get off my damage in a sustained fashion. You
That's
know,
fair.
like someone walks up to me, I pike. You know, I get a spell cast on me I don't want, I dispel it. You know, if I want to just stand there and right click, I hit satanic. You
If
know,
you
these are
like Mask of Madness Manta into Pike, I'm fine with that. Like, if that's your preferred build, that's a comfort zone, and that helps you like meet the signal, and it gives you like that for me is not a big enough. Like, Pike is a fine item on Luna. You know, it's fine. Like for me, it's not like a bad item. I just think delaying the Manta is not worth it. But if you want to stick to that Pike build, because I agree, like it is really nice, especially as a Jug player, to have an answer to things, because that's kind of what Jug's kit does. You know, if you have a Manta on Jug, you have an answer to pretty much everything, because you have a Dispel and you have a BKB. So you got everything covered. And so I think that can be a bit of a crutch. It can be a bit, but I can see your reasoning for Luna, and it's definitely a fine item build. I just don't want you to delay the Manta.
don't delay the manta, bare
Yeah.
minimum. Got
Yeah,
it.
but if you want the Pike afterwards, that give you that Pike Satanic Manta option, like you just said, that makes a lot of sense to me. And it sounds like, for me, when you say that, I'm like, I see very clearly why he likes that. And that's the number one thing that matters to me when I coach people is, do they understand why they're doing what they're doing? And I can see, based on you playing a lot of Jug and then you just giving me that explanation, I can see why that would work for you. So that makes sense. And I don't want to take people out of their comfort zone. It's just the Manta first that I think is really big, kind of a
Okay.
non-negotiable. So waves, big deal. We don't want to. It's not a matter of, every little thing being like that range creep at 2 minutes. But like you said, it sounded like a third of your games approximately that you lose. You said your lanes go a bit worse than they should, or a lot worse in that particular game we watched. So I just, for that one, I just want to one time remind is, it's really easy to get caught in this trap of what your support should be doing and how much they ruined your lane, because it does happen. And it happens both ways, and it sucks. But I just want to draw your attention that I'm going to be holding you accountable for what I see you do. So it's like, I get that it's frustrating your support pulled the small, but if you walk in and get hooked, that's what I see. That's what I'm going to see when I watch your game. If I see things that are happening to you that are like from your support that aren't ideal, and you're adjusting as best you can, and I can tell, like, I'm going to be very impressed, and I'm going to be happy with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be, I'm not going to be like, this guy's being inefficient. It's like, it's just like, I feel like I have enough knowledge of carry to be like, yeah, I can tell your support's not doing the best job. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I just want you to know that, like, that's how I hold you guys accountable, and it would be my dream for you guys to hold yourself accountable, that way as well. So that's what I'm going to be looking for in your replay. And then I'm going to just be checking out your mid game for the sake of, yeah, we talked about the item build, but I'm going to see what happens. I have a feeling if you get yourself to the late game, you'll get there. I have a feeling that, like, meaning like you'll finish off more games than you don't, not counting the Lion game. But in general, I do think your mid game and early game do need a lot of clearing of the noise. And I think that's what
Okay.
we can do.
Okay.
Do you have any final questions about how to make this actionable, or what I'm expecting from you or implementing?
No. I would just like to say that I am one of the people who's like very interested in laning drills. I know that we've tried it a couple times in the dojo and it never seems to like quite come to fruition.
Yeah,
Because like I recognize that have I have a tendency to, tunnel vision and not see the range creep.
yeah,
Like and I do know that I need to work on it. And I like even one time I tried to like put together my own makeshift, like who wants to do lane drills, who wants to do 2v2s and just run it back over and over.
mm,
And it didn't kind of work out. So like
okay.
um if in the future just to put it in your head that like, hey, I have interest in this and I recognize that it will help me.